نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء، واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم، ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله، وخير هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم، وشر الأمور محدثاتها، وكل محدثة بدعة، وكل بدعة ضلالة، وكل ضلالة في النار. My dear respected brothers and sisters in Islam, today we'll speak over an issue which is quite controversial, but it needs explanation, it needs clarification, such that each one of you, speaker included, can be a bayyinah, clarity regarding this matter. It is the matter, or rather the answer to the question, is it permissible for a Muslim to inform on another Muslim if the latter commits a crime or is about to commit a crime? Before we can open the subject, we must appreciate the fact, and it is a fact, that Masjid al-Ghuraba has been accused of turning Muslims over to the disbelievers, to the authorities. We must view this subject with the glasses of the Sharia. We must understand it in the light and context of the Quran and the Sunnah. We must address this issue, seeking the answers from the Sharia and not the answers from our desires and our minds. Before we begin, it is imperative that each one of us, speaker included, conditions our heart and our mind to seek only the truth. Whether that truth coincides with whatever is in our heart and mind already, we will accept the truth. And the master, the source of the truth, we know, will only be from the Quran and the Sunnah as understood by the companions of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Another foundation we must have before we can discuss this issue, and it is a principle, a foundation we must lay to understand this properly, is that we must not allow our anger or our hatred or emotions against the people make us swerve away from being just to them. Another principle or foundation is we must not allow the situation of the Muslims around the world, in Iraq, Afghanistan, Palestine, Syria, Libya, wherever the Muslims are bleeding and hurting, we must not allow that situation to overwhelm or guide the position of how we're going to answer this question. We must stay aloof and allow only the Sharia to guide us. Allah Jalla wa Ala, He said, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا كُونُوا قَوَّامِينَ بِالْقِسْطِ شهداء لله ولو على أنفسكم أو الوالدين أو الأقربين وإن يكن غنيا أو فقيرا فالله مولى بهما فلا تتبعوا الهوى أن تعدلوا. Which means, oh you who believe, stand up for justice be witnesses for Allah and stand out for justice. وَلَوْ عَلَىٰ أَنفُسِكُمْ, even if it be against your own selves. Your own self here means your parents, your family, your tribe, your community, yourself being Muslims. And the ayah goes on, stand up for justice even if it be against your own parents or your own relatives. When يكن غنيا أو فقيرا فالله أولى بهما. If they are rich or poor, Allah has priority over them both. فلا تتبعوا الهوى أن تعدلوا. So do not follow your desires and be unjust. So Allah has connected. The one who is unjust, he is by default following his desires. Another principle, it is well known, my brothers, that the true worth of a society manifests itself when they are placed under pressure. The Muslim Ummah today in Great Britain are placed under pressure from the government, from the think tanks, from the non-Muslims, from the far right, and from our own selves. But our true worthiness will shine if we remain steadfast upon the Sunnah, upon the Sharia, and we don't swerve away from justice. People are looking at us, especially the non-Muslims, to see if you're going to be just in these matters. And if you are just, that will encourage them to embrace Islam and attract them to what is haq, because they see injustice around them everywhere, from their own government and other governments. The type of pressures that we will face, or that we did face, for standing firm upon the truth, standing with justice wherever it may be. If justice at times is with the disbelievers, we must stand with them. But there are Muslims who cannot stand the fathom of that thought, over emotional. And the type of pressures that they place us under are like the following. They call us disbelievers themselves, quoting an ayah from the Quran incorrectly. وَمَنْ يَتَوَلَّهُمْ فَإِنَّهُ مِنْهُمْ. That whoever aligns himself with them, meaning the disbelievers, then he's of them. So they make a clear of us, saying that we are no longer Muslims, and we are disbelievers because we side with the disbelievers, even if the Muslims are incorrect in that, and the believers are correct, and we side with them, and the disbelievers are correct, and we side with them. They will spread lies and gossip about you for standing firm upon the truth. They will defame your character. They will side with your enemies to bring you down. They will call you a treacherous Muslim, treachery to the Muslims. They will call you an informant, working for the MI5, working for the CIA. They will claim you are taking money from the governments or the disbelievers that you are standing firm with in the truth. They will even go as far as writing blogs against you, opening up websites against you. They will call you names. They will defame you. They will say that you are carrying the agenda of this government. This is where the true worthiness of a society stands out, my brothers, when they are placed under such pressures. Allah said in the Quran, and I mentioned before, وَلَيَجْمَنَّكُمْ شَنْآنُ قَوْمٍ عَلَىٰ أَنْ لَا تَعْدِلُوا اهْدِلُوا أَقْرَبَ لِلتَّقْوَى. Do not let your dislike or your hatred for a people make you unjust to them. Be just, that is closer to taqwa. The Prophet ﷺ implemented this ayah in the Quran and the previous ayah in the Quran. When he arrived in Medina, he found the Jews. He invited them to Islam and they rejected. So he was now with a nation of people who did not want Islam. So he made a charter, a pact, an agreement with them. So each religious group in Medina, Jews, Christians, whatever they were at the time, they knew their rights and obligations. Some relevant parts of that charter said the following: the Jews who enter into this covenant shall be protected from all insults and vexations. They shall have an equal right as our own people to our assistance and our good offices, institutes. The Jews of the various tribes and all other non-Muslim residents of Medina shall form with the Muslims as one nation. Here we can see, my brothers, that it was an obligation on every Christian or Jew to inform the Muslims authority if there was a criminal activity happening in Medina that they knew of. This is what the Prophet expected from them from this charter. And this was the meaning of that part of the charter. Now some Muslims today are saying that we shouldn't give the non-Muslims the same obedience when they are in authority and we are their subjects. This, my brothers, is double standards. They want the rights when they are in authority. These Muslims want their rights when they are in authority. But they do not want to give their rights to those who are in authority above them. This is from injustice. Let us read more of the charter. It goes on to say, they shall practice their religion as freely as the Muslims. The allies of the Jews shall enjoy the same security and freedom. The guilty shall be pursued and punished. The guilty shall be pursued and punished. This charter, my brothers, was a general charter compiled by the Muslims, Jews, Christians. Together they all signed it. And it said, whoever is guilty, the guilty means all of the guilty, whether they be Muslims or non-Muslims, will be pursued and they will be punished. The Jews shall join the Muslims in defending Medina against all enemies. Against all enemies. Meaning even if a Jew from amongst them, a different tribe, attack the Muslims, they will have to join the Muslims in defending the Muslims against them Jews. The allies of the Muslims and the Jews shall be respected as the principal parties of this charter. Here, the answer to whether we should inform of Muslims who are committing crimes such that they harm other human beings is made explicitly clear. So it is not one rule for them and one rule for us. When we are in charge, we expect from them to inform their people, to inform on their people when they commit crimes against the Muslims. But when they are in charge and we are their subjects, it's not an obligation upon us to inform their non-believing authorities about the Muslims who are transgressing against their rights. This, my brothers, is from betrayal. This is injustice. This is treachery. Allah Jalla wa Ala said, وَإِنْ جَاهَدَكَ عَلَىٰ أَن تُشْرِكَ بِمَا لَيْسَ لَكَ بِهِ عِلْمٌ فَلَا تُطِيعْهُمَا وَصَاحِبْهُمَا فِي الدُّنْيَا مَعْرُوفٌ. Which means, and if they ask you to associate partners with Allah, that which you have no knowledge of, then do not obey them. But companion them in kindness whilst in this world. This ayah was revealed particularly to the parents of the Muslims that embraced Islam in the time of the Prophet who were not Muslims. Their parents were not Muslims, they were Muslims. Allah said, if they, your parents, your disbelieving parents, ask you to make shirk with Allah, then do not follow them, do not obey them. But in everything else, be kind and generous to them, and nice to them, and obey them. So this is also applied to us as a society living here in the UK. If they, the disbelieving authority above us, ask us to associate partners with Allah, or to follow that which we have no knowledge of, then we reject it. We will not follow it. And we don't hide behind saying this. But if they ask us to be obedient to them for the general safety of all mankind, then this is from our religion, Islam. The Prophet ﷺ, my brothers, he said, whoever gives a sign of safety to a non-Muslim and then kills him, he is not from us. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم المسلمين. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الكريم أما بعد. Whoever from us Muslims gives a sign of safety to a non-Muslim and then attacks him, kills him and harms him, he is not of us. In another hadith, the Prophet ﷺ said, whoever violates one who is given sanctuary by the Muslims, you know, some of the Muslims said this, we live in peace with you, and then someone else comes and violates that agreement. The curse of Allah, the curse of the angels, and all the people will be upon this individual who violates that trust. Allah will not accept a single good deed or justice from him. And the hadith is in Bukhari and Muslim. So here we are. We have Muslims among our midst saying that we are living in peace and tranquility with this whole country. They are claiming or showing, giving a sign to their neighbors, we will harm you. We will live with you in peace. You are safe from us, we are safe from you. We live under this law in this country. We will abide by the law in this country. And then they hear of another Muslim wanting to blow up a train or bus or make up some explosions to harm Muslims or non-Muslims. And they want to remain silent, saying, we cannot inform on our Muslim brothers. This is exactly what is meant by this hadith. That whoever violates the safety given by Muslims, then the curse of Allah, the angels, and the whole of the people, all the people will be upon that person. This is an explicit meaning, my brothers. Why? Because in one hand, they're living with the whole society here as if they're giving them safety. But then, behind the scenes, when they hear somebody is doing some plan to bomb this and bomb that, they remain silent. You can't tell me you're Muslims. This is ridiculous, this is injustice, this is treachery, this is betrayal. This is not the actions and the behavior of Muslims. The Prophet ﷺ also said, a banner will be erected for the treacherous one on the day of judgment. And it will read, this is the treachery of so-and-so. I didn't say Bukhari. Is this not treacherous? You know somebody's going to harm your fellow Muslim or non-Muslim's house that you're living with. And you remain silent? Or because he's from your blood, your relatives, or your tribe, or your religion? Let us look at the wisdom of the Prophet ﷺ, how he conducted his dealings with non-Muslims who were enemies to the Prophet ﷺ. Now I'm not talking here about the people who lived in Medina with the Prophet ﷺ, where he made oaths and contracts and agreements with. I'm talking about those who waged war and fought the Muslims, killed their women, killed their children, killed their brothers, killed their uncles and fathers and children. How did the Prophet ﷺ deal with those people? It was a normal practice in the time of the Prophet ﷺ, in that era, that if they attained prisoners of war, they would either kill them or make them into slaves. That was the normal practice. But the Prophet ﷺ, after the Battle of Badr, he brought them back to Medina with them in safety. He gave them decent lodgings in the homes of the Sahaba. He made sure that they were not ill-treated in any way. A prisoner of war, being taken into your house, eat what you eat, clothe what you clothe, decent lodgings, yet he killed someone's mother, someone's father, yet he killed many companions. But the Prophet ﷺ was far-sighted, was thinking ahead, but the people forward. So the brothers started coming back. According to some of the seerah and some Western biographers also, one Western biographer, he said, Sir William Moore, in pursuit of Muhammad's command, the citizens of Medina, they received the prisoners and treated them with much consideration. So much that one prisoner said many years later, "Blessings be on the men of Medina. Blessings be upon the men of Medina. They made us ride while they walked themselves. They gave us wheated bread while they ate dates." This was the way the Prophet ﷺ treated those enemies who harmed the Muslims, looking for a bigger goal with wisdom. As Allah Jalla wa Ala said, "Ud'u ila sabili rabbika bil hikmah," and call to the way of your Lord with wisdom. So there was wisdom in the method that the Prophet chose to deal with those non-Muslims, those enemies, those that wage war against the Muslims. Quite a contrast from some Muslims standing on the streets, shouting, "Baby killers, murderers. The flag of Islam will dominate, will be flying above Downing Street. Islam will dominate Europe. We want Sharia in UK. Behead those who insult Islam." And they're saying this from a position of weakness, as subjects not as those in authority. When our role here is dawah, bringing the people through good speech and preaching to Islam, and they want to stand there and advocate harm, advocate, lack of safety when you're with us. So-and-so can't come into Bury Park because so-and-so will get beaten up. Even in the state of war, my brothers, the Prophet ﷺ said, he said, "Do not violate treaties." In the rules of engagement of war, he said, if there's a treaty somewhere, don't violate it when you're at war with them. So even if these minority Muslims, these insignificant Muslims who cause harm to the Muslims living here in the UK, want to consider themselves in a state of war, they should not violate treaties. Part of our contract agreement treaty here is that we abide by the rules of this country. And we do not insult the whole country. We don't insult one another. Call them names. Even your enemies, you're not allowed to call such names. Let's look at the hadith. There's a lot more to say, but we'll stop at this hadith of Abu Jundab. In the time when the Prophet ﷺ made a sulh, an agreement with the Quraysh, part of the agreement in Hudaybiyah was that if a Muslim was to escape from Mecca and flee to Medina, then the Muslims in Medina would have to hand him back to the Meccans. And the Prophet ﷺ signed this agreement. Umar was angry. He said, "O Messenger of Allah, are we not upon the haqq? Are you not the Messenger of Allah?" He said, "Indeed you are upon the haqq. Indeed I am the Messenger of Allah." But he calmed down and realized that the Prophet ﷺ had wisdom in this. There was wisdom in this agreement. But it was an agreement which belittled the Muslims and gave honor to the disbelievers, gave more rights to the disbelievers and less rights to the believers, seemingly from its apparent sex. Just then, when the contract was signed, there was a companion by the name of Abu Jundab in Mecca. He fled from Mecca. He escaped, and he was hiding in the mountains. He heard that the Muslims were in Hudaybiyah, but didn't know the Quraysh were there signing an agreement. So he came to Medina, to the sanctuary of the Muslims, to be with them. And when he arrived, he was so happy, smiling, joyful. He fled from the disbelievers and torture to the Muslims. And when he entered the tent of the Prophet ﷺ, he found with them one of the leaders of Quraysh. And one of the leaders of Quraysh looked upon him and said, aha, we will start this contract with this individual. So he grabbed him by the scuff of his shoulder and dragged him in front of all the companions, in front of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So much in one narration, it was said that Abu Jundub shouted and screamed that, why are you standing there? Help me, save me. You know what I've been through and now I'm here with you. Because he did not know about his contract, his agreement. Yet they grabbed him and they took him, and every companion was head down, looking, shedding tears, upset, crying. There was nothing they could do. This was the level to which we Muslims must honor our agreements, our contracts with those who are even our enemies, let alone those who are not killing us, rather giving us wealth, giving us housing, giving us much to live on, and protection. So he left back to Mecca. The Prophet ﷺ, my brothers, was a man who kept to his word. He was not treacherous. He did not betray his oaths, even if it was Muslims that were at loss. We ask Allah Jalla wa Ala, my brothers, to give us all the tawfiq, to allow the Sharia to guide our hearts and not our emotions. We ask Allah Jalla wa Ala to guide those people who call us informants, who call us people who have sided with the governments and against Muslims. May Allah guide them and fix their affairs. We ask Allah Jalla wa Ala to give each and every one the ability to show justice in this life to all of our families, our friends, and all those around us. Indeed, He hears all and He knows all. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله ولكم.